laying on the floor fast.
I shot Scott Bertha in the fall of '71.
I said hit the ground.
I showed the film to a number of my close friends, but my friends didn't like it.
I personally don't think it's right.
This article was written by Eliza Shapiro and Brian M. Rosenthal and read by Samantha Dance.
See Palestinian family. We don't have a video recording of it. We have audio recording of Hind as she's being actively killed.
ايش بتتمنى؟
بتمنى نموت.
ليش؟
عشان ما عندنا شكل ولا شغل. أنا زهقان من الحياة عشان حام.
The Hasidic Jewish community has long operated one of New York's largest private schools on its own terms, resisting any outside scrutiny of how its students are faring. But in 2019, the school, the Central United Talmudical Academy, agreed to give state standardized tests in reading and math to more than 1,000 students. Every one of them failed. Students at nearly a dozen other schools run by the Hasidic community reported similarly dismal outcomes that year, a pattern that under ordinary circumstances would signal an education system in crisis. But where other schools might be struggling because of underfunding or mismanagement, these schools are different. They are failing by design. The leaders of New York's Hasidic community have built scores of private schools to educate children in Jewish law, prayer, and tradition, and to wall them off from the secular world.
Tell your friends, George Floyd looks this.
Offering little English and math and virtually no science or
During a
history,
break, a Nordic central bank official approached me. Young, brilliant. He said quietly, "Professor, you've been right about all this, but here's what you don't know. We've run the scenarios. No pathway ends well. Best case, slow decline over a decade with moderate pain. Worst case, sudden crisis. Markets freeze, currencies collapse, social unrest."
Piling up and drawing 20-year-old Mubashir, a U.S. citizen who was detained while on his lunch break.
They dragged me outside and put me into a headlock on the ground. I repeated, "I'm a citizen, I have an ID." The agent kept saying, "That don't matter."
We're trying to engineer the first, but variables are moving faster than our policy responses. I asked, "What's the trigger? What causes sudden crisis?" He looked around. Honestly, could be anything. A major country announcing full de-dollarization.
Like he was a historical person, but he's not just that. It's not just a history at all.
Gangs of settlers marauding through the streets, armed with bats and Molotov cocktails. Cars and homes smashed apart and set on fire. This is now the daily reality for Palestinians.
Just last month, it was very quiet. Too quiet. Because there just aren't pilgrims visiting at the moment. And the Christian communities who live there and who rely on the income that pilgrims bring are struggling.
This sounds like it could be a book about you, and certainly reading it, a huge pleasure of reading it is for people that long for a new Woody Allen movie.
And showed that actually Netanyahu signed off on a drone strike on the flotilla. Is that the kind of story that Barry Weiss would publish under her reign at CBS News?
It's like seeing one of your movies through book form.
I'm probably limited as a thinker and as a creative artist, For people, if I did them as they occurred in my life, they wouldn't be very interesting, really. I mean, you'd look and that would be it.
But the character you have said is the most like you isn't, Jesse Eisenberg or Owen Wilson or, any of these characters that they've played. You've said it's Cecilia in Purple Rose of Cairo. Why is that?
Because of all the characters that I've written about, the one that Mia played.
New allegations against her adoptive mother, Mia Farrow.
In The Purple Rose of Cairo.
And tonight, many of Farrow's other children are defending their mother.
Well, Cecilia
The story rocked a family and made tabloid headlines. Director Woody Allen caught in a relationship with the 21-year-old adopted daughter of his longtime partner, Mia Farrow.
Was the one that was closest emotionally.
Soon-Yi Previn is breaking her silence, saying Farrow emotionally and physically abused her, including slapping her across the face and spanking her with a hairbrush and calling her stupid and moronic.
To me, I used to get lost in the movies.
Previn adds, I was never interested in writing a mommy dearest, getting even with Mia, none of that.
And I used to rue the times that real life existed and the movies existed. And when I grew up, there were 3 layers of reality. There was reality, which nobody likes. Then there was the reality in film, and it was very real. You know, when you saw Edward G. Robinson and Humphrey Bogart and Alan Ladd doing their things, it was, you were in a real world for a period of time. They were...
First of all, that was clearly not true. I mean, if it had been true...
You know, the cars were real, the food they ate was real, it was real.
When nearly half of all New York students passed the tests, 99% of the thousands of Hasidic boys who took the exams failed.
And then there was the third reality, which we knew about in the East, which was that
the poor performance could not be easily explained by the community's poverty or language barriers. Statewide, the public schools that served only low-income students all scored exponentially higher than the boys' yeshivas did.
the movie stars, these larger-than-life people, Fred Astaire.
In the schools that do not administer tests, it has been difficult to measure how much the students are learning. But hundreds of interviews and a review of student work show that those students are struggling too.
With Marty, there was an inner turmoil, and film was the perfect sort of, sump pump.
And Ginger Rogers lived in California, in Beverly Hills, and they had homes with swimming pools.
Have built scores of private schools to educate children in Jewish law.
1972. I was trying to get Beat Streets made.
Children in Jewish law, prayer, and tradition, and to wall them off.
And they went out to Ciro's and the Macambo at night, and they danced together, and that was a different reality. But our reality was, in my case, for example, but reasonably common, was Flatbush in Brooklyn, and we ate, with the oilcloth on the table, and the gefilte fish and the chicken, and we were not at Ciro's and the Macamba. We didn't have a swimming pool at our house.
You were eating bad Ashkenazi chicken.
And to wall them off from the secular world. Offering little English and math and virtually no science or history, they drill students relentlessly, sometimes brutally, during hours of religious lessons conducted in Yiddish. In a community that places religion at the center of daily life, secular education is often viewed as unnecessary or even distracting. Some parents told the Times they know the limits of the schools, but they enroll their children nonetheless because they believe the educational system instills the values of their community. Teachers in many of the boys' schools have regularly smacked, slapped, and kicked their students, records and interviews show, creating an environment of fear that makes learning difficult. At some schools, boys have called 911 to report being beaten.
It was very good in retrospect. At the time, it wasn't good because you actually had to eat it. But in retrospect, when you could just think about it,
It just repeats itself.
The nostalgia makes it good.
Delicious.
Because of the nostalgia for it, or because it genuinely was good?
Yeah. Because I'm thinking about it, 60 years ago, 70 years ago, or more now, and I think to myself, boy, that was so delicious. But actually, my mother was a very mediocre cook, and the food was not great. But in my mind now, it was very great. And You know, as long as you can focus on a phenomenon that's not in reality, whether it's in a movie screen, on a theater, or in your mind nostalgically, you can enjoy it.
I personally don't think it's right. Now, so how do you feel now about the fact that both Christopher and I go out with Asian women? I personally don't think it's right. You go where? That's me, my opinion. With Chinese women, no. Chinese, Asian women. Either one is Chinese. I would have liked him from the beginning to fall in love with a nice Jewish girl. A nice Jewish girl? Yes. That's why the Jews someday will be, not in your time, be extinct, and that's very bad.
We would say, what if I can do the kind of story I want to tell and push it to the edge?
She's also defending her husband of 20 years against allegations he molested Pharaoh's then 7-year-old daughter, Dylan. Alan was never charged and has always denied the allegations.
He's lying, and he's been lying for so long.
Previn telling the magazine what's happened to Woody is so upsetting, so unjust. Mia has taken advantage of the Me Too movement and paraded Dylan as a victim. In the piece, the author acknowledging she's a longtime friend of Woody Allen.
For many Hasidic people, their schools are succeeding, just not according to the standards set by the outside world. In a community that places religion at the center of daily life, secular education is often viewed as unnecessary or even distracting. Some parents told the Times they know the limits of the schools, but they enroll their children nonetheless because they believe the educational system instills the values of their community.
Eric Ballier is a 25-year career federal agent who most recently oversaw use of force investigations for Homeland Security Investigations, or HSI. We asked him what to make of the tactics used by federal agents in the fatal Minnesota shooting.
In my 25 years, I've done hundreds of vehicle stops. If someone is fleeing, that is not a justification for the use of deadly force.
I thought maybe the home would be Los Angeles, California, and Hollywood. But I found myself ostracized from it. I found myself on the outside. There were a lot of people I wanted to work with, but basically, it was keep away.
We did a master plan. We brought in, I think, Yakir Gabay, who's one of the most successful real estate developers and brilliant people I know. He's volunteered to do this, not for profit, really because of his heart. He wants to do this. And we've developed ways to redevelop Gaza. Gaza, as President Trump's been saying, has amazing potential. And this is for the people of Gaza. We've developed it into zones. In the beginning, we were toying with the idea of saying, let's build a free zone, and then we have a Hamas zone. And then we said, you know what, let's just plan for catastrophic success. Hamas signed a deal to demilitarize. That is what we are going to enforce. People ask us what our plan B is. We do not have a plan B. We have a plan. We signed an agreement. We are all committed to making that agreement work. There's a master plan. We'll be doing it in phasing. In the Middle East, they build cities like this in 2-3 million people. They build this in 3 years.
As long as you can focus on a phenomenon that's not in reality, whether it's in a movie screen, on a theater, or in your mind nostalgically, you can enjoy it. When it's the actual thing itself, it's a different story, and it's full of compromises.
Well, let's go back to that original reality. You're